People in our own backyards are hurting. There are insecurities around food, economics, mental health, access to justice, healthcare, and our society continues to become more divisive. But there is hope. Right here in Chicagoland, there are people and organizations who are on the front lines working to bring about positive and transformative change. Each week, we're going to meet some of these agents of change and examine how they are spurring innovative ideas and finding solutions to push our society forward in a more just direction. I'm Sufyan Sohel, and this is Change Agents.
Good evening. Youth violence has lasting harmful effects on young people, their families, and their communities. According to the CDC in the United States, an average of 12 young people die by homicide each day. Among young people ages 10 to 24, homicide is the leading cause of death for African Americans and the second leading cause for Latinos. But violence does not live in a bubble. The same communities that are identified as priority communities by Chicago's violence data are the same ones struggling with food deserts, food insecurity, homelessness, poverty, low property values, academic disparities, and so many other challenges that perpetuate these systems of inequality. It is a wicked problem of interconnected social injustices, each feeding upon each other, a wicked problem that can only be solved by love. My guests tonight aim to address these root causes of violence within these communities by combating these social injustices that affect our Southside youth and their families. My first guest is a CPS special education teacher who has taught on the South Side of Chicago for 6 years. She's currently finishing her second master's degree in counseling with the hopes of becoming a youth and family counselor. I am so pleased to have with me the founder and executive director of Lead with Love, Lizzy Carroll. Lizzy, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Lizzy, why are we here? I talked a little bit about youth violence, but what we're seeing a lot is community violence in several of our communities on the South and West Side specifically, but throughout the city. Mm-hmm. What are you seeing as a CPS teacher specifically in the South Side?
So as a CPS teacher, I've worked on the South Side for 6 years. At the time I founded the organization, it was around 3-4 years. And even in just that short amount of time, I was able to very evidently see the disparities that affected our students and the systemic barriers that they were faced with. In the height of those challenges, we kind of had a discussion addressing like those root causes of violence that you mentioned, and our youth identify the major areas being like their physical needs, mental health needs, education, and then also exposure opportunities when there's just like a lack, therefore, of these resources for our community. We are seeing violence as a symptom for these deeper injustices that our youth are faced with and experiencing at a community level.
Thank you. So Lizzy, we talked about the symptoms and tell me more about like what happens, what is the violence leading to?
Well, unfortunately, as you mentioned, it is leading to very dangerous situations for our youth that sometimes end in death. High school dropout rates. We know that there's a school to prison pipeline, and if our students are dropping out at high rates, they're also being incarcerated at high rates. There's just not very many positive exposure opportunities for them within the community to really find their passions, develop those passions, their interests, workforce development, et cetera. A lot of these students aren't finding jobs or like living out meaningful lives and reaching their full potential due to these injustices.
Thank you. And are you seeing this also at the elementary and middle school level?
Yes, it affects our students differently depending on their age. I know as a teacher, I see a lot of like behavioral problems and things from our students that are so just affected by so much trauma, and their behaviors are ultimately a cry for help in certain situations where they're trying to communicate their needs and their frustrations in a way where they also feel like desensitized to some of the things that they're witnessing and noticing it. They react differently when they're in school settings because of it.
And what about, why is there so much disparity? I know I listed a bunch of factors mm-hmm. and how they're all interconnected, but why is there so much disparity between our communities? Why are students at your school perhaps struggling in ways that students who live in my neighborhood may not be?
Right. Well, there's definitely the clear disparities between affluent communities and communities of color, particularly those on the South Side. I think what we mentioned, like our 4 foundational pillars are mental health, physical health, education, and exposure opportunities. And I keep circling back to those because I really am a strong believer in the power of those things to have those things have the power to transform our students' lives and our communities when they're actually invested into. So I think the lack of investment into these things, years back, there were 50 Southside schools that were closed, all mental health facilities that were closed. And like the disinvestment within these communities is very intentional, and it's not something that is helping our children succeed and live out their best lives.
Thank you. But you're trying to help them succeed.
Yes.
And you created this organization, and I'll say again, I love the name Lead with Love.
Thank you
I think
so
it
much.
applies to all aspects of our lives. And if we use more love, we can truly make the world a better place. And you're doing that. So tell me a little bit about your organization.
Thank you so much. So Lead with Love was definitely co-created with some amazing youth that I've got to work with over my years teaching and just in summer programs and things that I was a part of. I can tell you a little background of like how it actually
Please.
was co-created. So in the summer of 2020, it was founded in the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, which we also know was disproportionately affecting communities of color. And in the summer months, unfortunately, there are higher rates of gun violence within these communities. I was teaching in a summer program on the South Side where a few doors down, it was a funeral home, and in broad daylight, there was a shooting where 15 people were shot. Yeah, that was the first time that I could say that I was that close to that level of violence. And I remember having that reaction and that discussion with the students in the program, and them being like desensitized to the topic and almost feeling like it's normal, perceived as normal within their community. And that's where we really dig deeper into these issues. Like, this violence is here and we feel like it's normal, but this should not be our norm, and what is causing this to be considered our norm? What is happening that we can kind of control? And that's where they address those areas of needs, but also what they can control. And they definitely said that there's a lack of love, right? Love for themselves, love for others, love of life, love of their community, like not a sense of pride to live where they live. And that discussion really kind of compelled us to take action when they were talking about loving one another and being leaders and how they can make an impact within their own communities. Like, we are the people that can make this change. So then we kind of co-created, and we were like, let's put this love that we have into action. We know that love is transformative, and we can definitely use love to make a positive impact on the lives of others and transform our communities.
That's fascinating.
Thank
you for sharing that.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about what you do.
So within physical health, we offer free and comprehensive health programs where we offer like supports, and we also act as a hub where we kind of allow families to have connections to different community resources that they might not know about, or provide access to like free health supplies, vaccinations, medical screenings. We partner with like different community health organizations and provide those at our community center and also at different community events outside in the community. And then we also offer a free dance program. We believe that movement is medicine at Lead with Love, and our dance program is not only to promote physical activity, but to use dance as like a creative outlet of hope and healing, honestly. So we offer a free dance program, and then we also have a free community response program, where this is very individualized for families. So I would say like our family emergency response program, where families can actually reach out and get whatever, address whatever issues that they are having within their own family. We can provide that relief by like clothing distributions, providing essential items, any medical supplies or needs that they may have. We're really able to kind of tailor that and individualize it so we're addressing their needs appropriately.
Wow, that's a lot. And you were telling me earlier that you do this fully volunteer.
Yes.
And how many families and students are you working with on a weekly or monthly basis?
Oh, every event that we have, I would say, is between 100 to 200 families. And then initiatives and things that we have is kind of, it fluctuates throughout the year, but I would say by the end of the year, we're outreaching maybe 200 to 500 youth and families in those throughout different yearly initiatives.
And then do you have regular programming that's happening?
Yeah, and then our community events are happening like quarterly, where our initiatives are happening just throughout the year. We have like pop-up wellness workshops, the dance classes that are going weekly. We offer, we partner with CPS and offer extracurricular programs in school. So we have like tutoring, social emotional learning, yoga, dance, music, all types of things. So that just goes on throughout the whole year.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
And what would you say is the biggest challenge you face as a founder and as an organization?
The biggest challenge is funding, I will say. There are so many needs that our families have, and we would love to address every single one of them and really tailor it to their individual needs, and we are limited with what we can do given funding for that. We just opened a community center in the summer, and it's just a lot. It's a lot of money and work to keep it up and running in the way that we'd like it to be. We really want to expand our growth and our outreach, but it takes money to do so. So just, I think the funding right now, as we're still on like the foundational kind of part of our growth, it's really a lack of funding.
And you're all
investment.
volunteers.
Yeah, everyone is volunteer, so it's also getting people to buy into that. You know, they really have to be passionate and social justice driven and committed to our mission to really want to be a part of something voluntarily, which we're so grateful for our volunteers. We also do partner with Adler University, and they send us like amazing mental health counseling interns. So we're really grateful for that partnership. But other than that, it's really trying to find individuals that have the same passions and align with our mission and want to be a part of this work, because it's so impactful and it's so needed, but it is difficult.
It's very difficult, sounds like it. Lizzy, you're a full-time CPS teacher, you're working on your second graduate degree, and you're volunteering full-time and leading this nonprofit, and probably so many other things are on your plate. What keeps you wanting to do this every day? What's your motivation and inspiration?
I would say the kids that I've grown to know and love over the years. Like I said, this organization was co-created with them in mind, at the forefront of it, definitely. And I think that just seeing them, the courage that they have and the challenges that they face, it definitely helps me stay motivated and know that it's purposeful, it's meaningful. I'm just really driven by their motivation to live out their best lives.
That's so great. Lizzy, tell me what leading with love means to you.
What leading with love means to me is really helping my students and their families by providing access to the key things that we mentioned, definitely providing resources and education around the different programs and things that we have at our organization that can really help them be successful from a holistic approach. So loving them holistically, caring about their well-being, and doing whatever I can to help ensure that they live meaningful lives.
Thank you so much, Lizzy.
Thank you.
I think we can all take a page from her book and learn to live and lead with love. We thank her for sharing her story and her work with us. We'll be right back with our next guest.
Hi, I'm Bianca Cotton. Join me Mondays at 7 p.m. for Behind the Confident Smile as I sit in conversation with incredible, dynamic, and complex Chicagoans who peel back the layers, living lessons, the joy, and the pain behind their confident smiles. You can watch on CanTV 19, cantv.org, and CanTV Plus app.
Welcome back. My next guest tonight is a senior at King College Prep High School, where she is part of the National Honor Society and is the first Black female to become a Cadet Brigadier General in the Junior Reserves Officer Training Corps, or JROTC. She's a dancer, a poet, and a youth leader for Lead with Love. I'm thrilled to have with us tonight Jemiah Reed Green. Jemiah, thank you for joining us on Change Agents.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, our absolute pleasure. You're doing so many great things. You're a dancer, a poet, JROTC, but let's start with Lead with Love. Tell me how you first got associated with them.
Well, I met Miss Lizzy when I was 11 years old at my elementary school, and she was our dance teacher for an after-school program. I joined because I love to dance, but she was into a different style of dance than I was, so she came up with this beautiful contemporary piece, the RG's Day, Rise Up, and I was just like, what is that? No, no, thank you. And she was just like, well, come on, you have to explore, try new things, get out the box. And I was like, no, I want to do this TikTok dance and we're gonna do great. She was like, no. I ended up trying it, loved it, stuck with it. And then we kept in communication throughout my years, and, COVID came, and that's when she formed Lead with Love. And she asked me, she's like, you're developing into an amazing person, an amazing leader. And she was like, would you like to become a youth leader? And I was like, of course. Like, I would love to become a youth leader. And then after that, I stayed, and I don't think I would ever leave, like, never.
What do you do with them?
Well, I'm a youth leader, so
what does that mean?
A youth leader is basically it's a young leader, just in the name that it says young leader. I volunteer at almost everything that we do. We have a holiday drive for families that are less fortunate or families that have lost loved ones during Christmas, and we've dedicated it to a student that passed at our elementary school, Darnell. And we teach dance, we call it Love Moves, and it's a free dance program, and I am a dance teacher there, yes.
That's so great.
And we offer free dance classes. We do all styles, modern, hip hop, ballet, jazz, anything you name it, we can teach it. We also do, we have the clothing that we give away and, necessities that other family needs. And whenever she needs a volunteer, she needs us to help at the center, first person she calls, Jamaya, can you come to the center today? Of course, I have nothing else better to do. I would love to come to the center and help. And it's so nice, like, seeing the smiles on everybody's faces that they can, get stuff that they can't afford, or like stuff that they really can't, that aren't accessible to them due to the communities that we're in. And it's kind of sad, but Miss Lizzy's there to help.
I can tell your passion for this organization and for giving so much of your time to this work, just like Lizzy did when she was here earlier. And you both speak so much of the love that you have for this great work. Earlier you were telling me about some of the challenges in growing up similarly to some of the people that you're supporting. Can you tell a little bit about that and what you're seeing, why programs like this are valuable? So
I grew up in Maywood, and they named Maywood, Illinois, Murderwood. And so that type of community is one of the type of communities that people try to stray away from. And now Maywood is known as a food desert. So there is no grocery store in that town, and they have to, go to Melrose Park or Bellwood or, another town. So growing up and seeing, a lot of poverty there, it was very hard to see. And I really didn't understand it because I was so young. And then my mom moved us to the city because she wanted me to be better and not see that, because my mom had me at such a young age. And then I went to Barney Elementary School on the south side, 76 and Walcott. And then that's when I really seen how bad our community was. We had gunshots in our auditorium window. I remember one time we were having a Black History Month assembly, and they shot through the window. And we couldn't go home. And then I remember another time, I forgot what time it was around, but we had a lockdown drill because they were shooting across the street. And I was just like, wow, this is really if this really happens. And now it's really sad to see people that I went to elementary school with, they drop out, or they run away, they're having babies. And it's just wow, my mom really, I see my mom was so strict on me. And it's really sad seeing the kids that I know who had so much potential just not live up to their full potential.
So how does organizations like Lead with Love help with some of that?
They offer opportunities, great opportunities. They offer job opportunities. We have volunteers that help people find jobs. We offer mental health opportunities. Miss Lizzy is great with mental health. She does yoga, and that's what dance is for. Dance is an outlet for many, many people to express their emotions. That's why I started dancing, because I used to be very, very angry, and dance is my only outlet to express my emotions without yelling, cursing, fighting, and doing things like that. So Lead with Love helps so much. I use them on my college applications. I use them on job applications. It helps so much.
I mean, love moves.
Love
what else
definitely
does love
moves.
do?
Love inspires. It inspires. Lead with Love keeps me going. I know with Lead with Love, I can do so many things. And I know that there's so many young people in the organization that looks up to me. I remember I was about to leave dance one day, and a parent came up to me. She was like, I really want my daughter to, my daughter looks up to you. I really want my daughter to be like you. And I was like, you want your daughter to be like me? I was like, oh my God. It was really touching. I was like, wow, people really look up to me. So I really do it for Lead with Love. All the little kids that look up to me and run up to me and give me hugs after dance, I really do it for them.
Can you tell me anything at all about any of the other programs of Lead with Love?
We do wellness drives. So basically we give away food, clothes at the center. We also do Darnell's holiday drive. Darnell was the boy that passed away at our elementary school. So we dedicate the drive to him during Christmas time for families that are unfortunate or have lost loved ones during that time. And then obviously Love Moves, we do that.
That's your favorite?
Yes, that's my favorite.
You were telling me earlier also about some plans after high school. You're going to college in Alabama.
Yes.
In Montgomery, Alabama.
Yes.
Home of the Civil Rights Movement.
The Alabama State University.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Studying criminal justice.
Yes.
And what do you want to do? Why criminal justice?
Criminal justice because I see so much going on in my community, and I always say like I want to come back and I want to change stuff. Like I want to make a change happen, and that's why I'm with this organization, because Miss Lizzy makes change with love. Like she might not have much, but the little that she does have, she gives it to everybody. Like Miss Lizzy will give you the shirt off her back. She's so caring and so compassionate to people, and she gives 110% in everything that she does, and she's so genuine. And that's why I love her so much. Like, she does so much for other people. Like, she does more for other people than she would do for herself. And I love that so much.
Why don't more people act like that? I feel we live in a time where we're selfish. We're just worried about ourselves or what's happening in our communities around us. But we're not thinking about the greater good.
I feel like a lot of people aren't selfless. And I feel like that's because hurt people hurt people. And that's why Lead with Love is such a great organization, because we offer mental health outlets. So with that, hurt people, when you get help and you understand the root causes of why you act the way you do, then you can be more open in helping people and actually being genuine with helping people.
Thank you. And I want to ask you the same question I asked Lizzy. What does leading with love mean to you?
Going full on with everything you're doing, being genuine, being caring, being compassionate, being the change that you want to see. Leading with love.
Thank you so much, Jemiah, for joining us tonight. We learned about being genuine and authenticity and caring and loving, and we're so grateful for Jemiah for sharing her story and teaching us how important it is for all of us to lead with love. Sit tight, we'll be right back with this week's Change in Action.
I'm the founder and executive director of the International Latino Cultural Center of Chicago. We are the only pan-Latino culture organization in the country. Pan-Latino meaning we are dealing with the culture of absolutely every one of our countries. We do dance, music, poetry, visual arts, culinary arts. Film is primarily what we have been doing, and everything came out of the Latino Film Festival. And this year we celebrate 40 years of the Latino Film Festival. I live with the idea that what we are doing is necessary. The Film Festival will not be here if it were not necessary. And we don't take that lightly. And naturally, we're not sharing everything that we receive. We select. And that is part of our responsibility to really provide the best that we know is around there. And we are doing the very best we can to make sure that the 40th Chicago Latino Film Festival is a phenomenal event, and that will force us to really think about and very seriously about the 41. That has to be even better than that. And soon we will be talking about the 50th anniversary of the Chicago Latino Film Festival. We are carrying the responsibility of making sure that the Latinos look good. And look good is meaning look the way we are. Human beings who create and produce and are part of this society. And I discovered the power of cinema to really tell the stories about people. What a phenomenal tool to really convey the message about who we are, to really carry those stories and show that to people and really learn who the Latinos are. The film festival is ChicagoLatinoFilmFestival.org and website LatinoCulturalCenter.org. And attend our events. People who attend our events get out of there with a sense of pleasure and learning something. And we want you to get to know us by what we do. We want people to kind of immerse and learn and travel throughout our countries without leaving Chicago.
Hello, I'm Rich Robbins, inviting you to join me for the series Soft and Tender. Soft and Tender celebrates the resilience and emotional depth of Black fatherhood, offering a powerful narrative on family bonds and ongoing challenges faced by Black communities.
As a father and as a parent in general, you have to know that you're not going to always understand, and that's okay.
Tune in on CAN TV, cable channel 19, or stream at cantv.org or the CAN TV Plus app. Experience the power of community television.
The purpose of the show has always been to spotlight the issues and challenges facing our communities and to uplift the incredible work done by community leaders like Lizzy, like Jemiah, in creating positive change in the world around us. Our communities are struggling. Whether it be community violence or hunger, attacks on women's health or identity-based hate, those around us are facing challenges, often challenges that we may not be aware they are dealing with, or challenges that we, ourselves, have never experienced. We must step outside the comfort of our silos. We must open our eyes and our hearts and find ways to show support and our love to our neighbors and our communities. It is never too late to stand up against the injustices and the inequalities faced by so many of those around us, and to offer a hand to those in need. We can all lead with love. We can all be change agents. For those of you observing Ramadan, I wish you a blessed end of your month, and I thank you all for joining us this evening.